Federalist 31, Part 5. This is the last paragraph. It should not be forgotten that a disposition in the state governments to encroach upon the rights of the Union is quite as probable as a disposition in the Union to encroach upon the rights of the state governments. What side would be likely to prevail in such a conflict must depend on the means with which the contending parties could employ towards ensuring success. As in republics, strength is always on the side of the people, and as there are weighty reasons to induce a belief that the state governments will commonly possess most influence over them, the natural conclusion is that such contests will be most apt to end to the disadvantage of the Union, and that there is a greater probability of encroachments by the members upon the federal head than by the federal head upon the members. But it is evident that all conjectures of this kind must be extremely vague and fallible, and that it is by far the safest course to lay them altogether aside and to confine our attention wholly to the nature and extent of the powers as they are delineated in the Constitution. Everything beyond this must be left to the prudence and firmness of the people, who, as they will hold the scales in their own hands, it is to be hoped will always take care to preserve the constitutional equilibrium between the general and the state governments. Upon this ground, which is evidently the true one, it will not be difficult to obviate the objections which have been made to an indefinite power of taxation in the United States. So, the beginning, it says, it should not be forgotten that a disposition in the state governments to encroach upon the rights of the Union. It says, state governments have so much authority that most likely they are the ones that will cross the line, cross the limit that they have been given, the authority that they have been given, and encroach upon the rights of the federal government. And step on federal government's foot instead of the federal government and the state's authority. He says, experience has shown us that this will happen. This has happened in the past. So one of the things it says is that you have to trust the people themselves to be watchful, to be wise, and because they are so close to their state governments, because of where they live, most of the people they are in contact with, most of their immediate representatives that they're in contact with are the state representatives, which live closer to them. Because of that, the attachment would be to the state governments, and if they are wise and watchful, if the federal government decides to overreach, as he says, to encroach upon the rights of the state governments, people can push back and create an equilibrium, bring it to a balance. And so he says, hopefully we've been able to make you less doubtful that the federal government is going to take the states' rights and states' authorities away. Hopefully with what we have said, you will see that the federal government is there to help you make your life better, and if they keep on doing this, you gradually grow used to trusting it. Remember a few Federalists ago, it said that with time and with contact with what the federal government does, which is to your benefit, whether, let's say, there's an invasion, whether there's a national catastrophe or whatever, you'll see the good work of the federal government, and you, people of the states, will be less doubtful and more trusting of the federal government.